Welcome to the Tellabs Optical LAN Profile Operations video, the Radius Profile. The purpose of this video is to introduce the Radius Profile that can be invoked by the PAE profile in the UniPort. This video will describe the options and parameters available in the profile. The topics covered in this video will be a definition of the Radius Profile, the process for provisioning and editing the profile, and a description of the parameters that can be set in the profile. A total of 6 profiles are used in the Tellabs Optical LAN user-to-network interfaces. Each profile deals with a particular set of port behaviors assigned to the port. The PAE profile assigns attributes associated with 802.1x port authentication for the UniPort. Embedded in this profile is a Radius profile. The purpose of this feature is to allow more than one authentication domain for Radius authentication. The Radius profile allows for multiple Radius authentication domains and directs specific devices to dedicated Radius clusters. For example, you might want your phones and PCs to be authenticated to separate Radius clusters. A unique Radius profile can be created for each service. Then the profile can be attached to a PAE profile for each service. This PAE profile would then be assigned to the appropriate UniPort so the device will authenticate with the designated Radius domain. Use the Radius tab in the Profile tool to create, edit, or delete Radius profiles and monitor status of profiles, adds, and deletions. The Radius profile does not have a default as its use is optional. Select the Create a New Profile icon to create a new Radius profile. The Radius Server section defines one or more Radius servers that will service authentication. This can be expressed as either an IP address or a hostname. If a hostname is used, the OLT must be configured with the DNS server information and default domain. DNS settings for the OLT are found by right-clicking on the OLT in the Common Tree view and selecting Properties, General tab. Note that up to 4 Radius servers can be identified here. The system will try each IP or hostname in the list in order, and the first one to respond will be used for authentication. The Dynamic Authorization Client list identifies the hostname or IP used to provide many of the Radius extensions used by policy engines such as ICE, ClearPass, and Forescout. It is best practice to ensure that the Radius hostname and DAC hostnames are listed in the same order, as in most systems the Radius and DAC are fulfilled by the same agent. Putting them in the same order ensures that both parts of the authentication go to the same agent. The DAC UDP port is usually set to a standard default of 3799. One or more Radius profiles can be associated with a single PAE profile. This would allow multiple Radius domains to be associated with a single port. A particular Radius cluster is selected from the list of Radius clusters in the Radius profile based on a MAC OIU filter. An 802.1x request whose source MAC OIU matches the MAC OIU in the Radius profile indicates the associated Radius server list to be used. If the OLT detects an incoming 802.1x supplicant packet that matches the MAC OIU filter, the OLT sends the 802.1x request to the Radius server list associated with that Radius domain. The Port Authentication Entity, or PAE profile, will define the list of filtered Radius profiles that are to be associated with the port. Each Radius domain will have an entry in the list. If no MAC OIU matches, or no filtered Radius profiles are in the list, the default Radius authentication domain will be used. This concludes this video. In it, we have discussed a definition of the Radius profile, the process for provisioning and editing the profile, and a description of the parameters that can be set in the profile.